Hello, 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 lovely people. Once again, we are gathered, and I welcome you all to this channel. I say, you are all welcome to our first time subscribers. Thank you for subscribing, and it's going to be a fun moment to listen, speak, grow, and impact the world together. And to all those watching us for the first time, you're all welcome, and we can't wait for you to join the community. So before we start today, I want you all to know that this is the Impact Makers Network, and you are welcome to join us anywhere you are by liking, subscribing, commenting, and sharing this channel to as many as possible. And it's going to be a blessing unto those you invite, and it's going to be a blessing unto your life as well. So today I want us to learn something about the boy Samuel. We are going to learn something about the boy Samuel. We all know about how Hannah made a vow that when God gives her a child, she's going to give the child back unto the Lord. Now, Hannah's prayers have been answered, and she gave the boy Samuel unto the Lord. Now, when you read the Bible tells us that Samuel served in the house of the Lord, and he was serving under the priest Eli. Now there came a time when Samuel was sleeping, and he heard a voice call his name for the first time, and he rose and went to Eli, and he said, "You called." And Eli said, "I called you not." The second time, the third time, then Eli realized that the Lord was the one calling Samuel, and told him to go back and lie down. And when he hears that voice again, he should respond, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." Now God comes and stands there and calls Samuel for the fourth time, and this time around he answers by saying, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." And the Lord gives him messages about what he is to do in his life. Isn't it interesting? Is it not interesting that you have a father who knows what you want, or you have a father who has planned out everything for you? Now, even when you come into our daily lives, our parents, it is their duty for them to bring us into this world, cater for us, our education, our clothing, our shelter, and everything. And they do not neglect that activity. How much more a father upon fathers? Now, this is where it gets interesting. And then he just gives you the purpose for your life. He just educates you on what you're supposed to do and all of that. And it's just so amazing. Now, what I want us to learn from this story, or from this particular scenario, is very simple. You see, God speaks. Let's establish that first. God speaks. And when God speaks, he expects us to listen and respond, for him to give us further instructions. Now, I want us to know that in our weaknesses, he speaks. In our strength, he speaks. In our bad days, he speaks. In our good days, he speaks. How then do we know that God is speaking? You see, someone needed someone to validate for him to know that it was God that was speaking, because at that point the Bible says he knew not the Lord. So if you do not know the Lord, that means you require guidance for you to know exactly who he is, and when he speaks, you get to know his voice. But if you know the Lord, I believe you already are accustomed to his ways, and you know that he can speak to you at any time. Now, I want us to learn something very simple. That is, God speaks to us in various ways, and it is our duty to listen to his words. It is our duty to listen and act upon it. It is only when we avail ourselves to hear the voice of God that we are going to actually hear Him, listen carefully, and pick the exact things He expects us to pick. Now, when you are able to hear the voice of God, you are able to gather the information and the plans and the purpose He has destined for your life. Maybe there is something He wants you to do, and that thing can only be spoken to you by word. So God is going to come to you either in your dream or even while you are conscious, and He's going to say, now your duty is to open up the channels of your spirit, your heart, your soul, every aspect of you, because God is in total control of every aspect. And when He is in total control of every aspect, He is going to speak for you to hear Him. And when He speaks and you hear, He is going to make it that simple for you to understand. And you realize that it is never difficult for you to understand what God is saying. Today, I want you to understand that whatever situation you are in, whatever it is you are going through, God has a purpose for you. And because God has a purpose for you, He is going to speak in that situation. God can use somebody close to you to speak to you about something you are going through. God can use someone close to you to give you a solution to something you are going through. That is why as we walk, we are always supposed to be walking in goodness with everybody. We are supposed to be in a very, 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 very good situation with everybody, because someone may have a message that is going to help your life, but because you are not talking to the person may decide to ignore you, which is never the best. So today I want us to understand that God speaks, and He speaks in mysterious ways. It can be through your teacher, it can be through your parents, your siblings, your friends, and He can speak to you personally. God speaks to us personally all the time, but it is only when we do not hear His voice that most of the time He looks for other channels to speak to us. He can use signs and wonders. He can use a whole lot of things to speak to us. Probably something is going on in your life and then you are looking for an answer. You may be reading a book and all of a sudden you just come across a word and you feel deep within your spirit that this is the exact thing I'm supposed to do for this situation to just disappear. Act on it, pray on it, act on it, and God is going to work it out for you. Someone may be conversing with you, and just like that, the person may just speak a word, and that word is going to be the solution to the problem you are facing. Today, I want you to understand that the voice, never in your life should you ignore the voice of God, because the voice of God is what makes us who we are. The voice of God is what directs our path, and the voice of God is what puts us on the highest pedestal, and at the end of the day it is going to be a blessing and a success. And many will come to you and they will ask, I realized you were in a difficult situation. I realized you were in a situation which seemed that all hope was lost. I realized where you were so tight to the extent that there was no space for you to even turn around. But miraculously, you just turned around. Miraculously, your situation changed, and you are going to open your mouth and say that it was God who gave me the grace, the wisdom, and the knowledge to come out of the situation that I was in. And it is going to be a testimony and a testament unto others. And they are also going to grow with you. They are also going to walk with you, and you are going to teach them what you are learning. And it's going to be a blessed season for you and that person. Once again, never forget that God speaks and we must listen. And when we listen, we must act on it. And everything is going to be perfect in our lives. And at the end, all the blessings will be ours. Thank you for listening, and I pray and I believe that we are all going to hear the voice of God and we are going to act on it, just as the boy Samuel heard the word of the Lord and he acted on it and he became a prophet in the nation. And at the end, many will get to hear your name and many will hear your story and acknowledge the Lord for who He is in your life. Thank you. Have a blessed day and see you soon. Bye.